We have already presented the Audi Q6 e-tron as a quattro quite thoroughly in an extensive and detailed review featuring fabric. If you missed the video, I'll gladly link it again in the video description, because today we want to take this beast on the highway and see what it consumes at speeds of 100, 120, 140, 160 kilometers per hour. We want to see if it can really recharge the large 100 kilowatt hour battery from 10 to 80% in just about 20 minutes. And naturally, we want to test the travel comfort together with you. Is this a vehicle suitable for long-distance journeys or not? I'd say, before we get started, check again if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. And then you won't be missing out on any of the future videos about the latest in electromobility. I would suggest we begin with the consumption drive and the charging check of the Audi Q6 e-tron. We have now set off on our journey with the Audi Q6 e-tron in its quattro configuration, and we would like to discuss with you in detail about the foundational aspects. We currently have 17.5 degrees, but it is expected to rise up to 24 degrees. Yes. We have the quattro version with 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle. 387 horsepower system output, 855 Newton meters of torque, I believe. It does 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds. Top speed's 210. We'll test it with you. Got mixed tires, Stefan.
Yeah, 21-inch wheels up front, 255, and back with 285.
Absolutely, we'll do 4 stints, cruising at 100, 120, 140, and 160 kilometers per hour. Kept a steady and consistent average speed while driving. Always remained on the same route, so that by the end, you also in the table, you can relate to the other tested subjects and their results. Yes, otherwise, we will proceed with assessing top speed, comfort during travel, a bit of planning for charging, and most importantly, we will also conduct a thorough charging check. Because Audi says here with the large battery pack of 94.9 kilowatt hours net usable, that we can charge from 10 to 80% in about 20 minutes. And we want to check that for you at the HPC fast charger, of course, so that you can calculate the range, so that you can calculate the charging times. And finally, after the review with the driving report, which you hopefully watched in advance, link is in the video description, you might decide that the Audi Q6 e-tron as a quattro or RWD or SQ6 e-tron could be your next electric car. We are currently traveling on the A20 motorway, moving in a northerly direction. I've adjusted the adaptive cruise control to set at 100 km pro Stunde. Now we will reset the onboard computer together and aim to discover what their Audi Q6 e-tron Quattro consumes over the upcoming 20 km, maintaining a speed of exactly 100 km pro Stunde. We placed it into the efficiency mode in order to provide it with the best opportunity to perform as efficiently as it possibly can, just as the name implies. The air conditioning is set to 21.5 degrees. I believe that's quite a reasonable value. You are most likely using something similar in some form as well. Got any tips, Stefan?
Quattro's here, right? He'll have it by the 20th.
I believe he's staying down there. We intend to bridge the time until we receive the result by conversing with you about the various advanced assistance systems available here within the Audi Q6 e-tron. On board, we additionally have the comprehensive driving assistance package, where you will not only find the adaptive cruise control, but also the steering assistant, lane keeping assistant, along with a diverse range of other assistance systems available, which also works very, very predictively well. This means the car knows in advance, through the navigation system and of course in connection with the camera system, how speeds might adjust due to construction sites or traffic calming measures. And then it also proactively adjusts the speed. That means it gradually decelerate to the reduced speed, so that by the time you reach the sign, you are already traveling at the reduced speed. And when the speed limit then decreases or dissolves, and for instance here while you're driving on the highway, then once it's clear, you return to your previous cruising speed. And that's really a great semi-autonomous aid, because we also have a capacitive steering wheel. That means 3 fingers on the steering wheel are enough for it to know in the semi-autonomous mode that we are attentive. And I think that's a pretty cool story. To travel as comfortably as possible on long distances.
Yes, that's correct.
Right now, if we film out here again, a curve is coming up and the car holds very solidly, exactly right in the center of the lane, as if it had been precisely measured with the tape on both the left and right sides. That's really impressive, isn't it?
He's really good at it, isn't he?
And he's not jerking or twitching the steering wheel at all. It's completely smooth and seamless. I have to say, it's truly one of the best systems I've ever experienced. Not only from the Volkswagen Group, but also compared to BMW and Mercedes, absolutely on par. Additionally, here we are equipped with the innovative augmented reality head-up display, which projects traffic signs directly into your line of sight and is known for providing exceptionally smooth and fluid animations. So this is indeed a truly brilliant and amazing story. So if you're into all that technical gizmo stuff, I believe you're really at home with the augmented reality features in the Q6 e-Tower. We've got the first consumption value. We've driven 21.2 kilometers and have an average consumption of 21. 1.1 kilowatt hours. It's a bit surprising, isn't it?
I mentioned that he'd be approximately 20.
I keep striving to maintain my optimistic outlook, and I would have genuinely been thrilled if we could have managed to stay under 20 kilowatt hours. But of course, as always, we ensure to present the plain and absolute truth here. I've set it to 120 kilometers per hour for now, and together we'll proceed to reset the onboard computer. Back and want to take a look at the next 20 kilometers to see what it consumes at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. That, of course, also comes with its additional surcharge, and everyone must decide for themselves if it's really worth it to them. I'm somewhat into audio, and I genuinely appreciate it when there's a really nice beat and those driving bass sounds. And with Bang & Olufsen, that naturally comes across in an exceptionally nice and impressively refined way.
It's definitely a whole lot of fun.
And especially on a long journey, a really long journey. Yeah, even with a podcast like that, you know, when you have this clear magic in the voice, I think that's nice too, right? Yes. Is it that time again? Yes, we have a new consumption value. We drove a total distance of 20.1 kilometers, maintaining an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour throughout, and we recorded a consumption figure of 25.3 kilowatt hours. I'll go ahead and set the adaptive cruise control to 140 kilometers per hour right now, and we're going to reset the onboard computer together with you to see what kind of information or data we can uncover. What does the Audi Q6 e-tron consume as a quattro at 140 kilometers per hour over the next 20 kilometers?
Yeah, let's see.
See if he stays under 30, huh? Let's take a closer look into the topic of travel comfort in the Audi Q6 e-tron. We actually have a neutral measuring tool on board just for this purpose, and that is Stefan's dependable seat sensor. So Stefan, what's it showing us in terms of comfort levels?
Yeah, I have to say, even with these typically firmer sports seats, you can sit quite comfortably in here. And you have good lateral support, good thigh support, which is what you can expect from the S-Line seats. I find the suspension to be quite good as well. It handles these small bumps nicely and rolls smoothly over them.
Yes, it naturally has a nice wheelbase of 2.88 meters, and you can really feel that in combination with the air suspension. We're now in efficiency mode. It's a bit more tightly tuned perhaps, but when you switch it over to comfort mode, it feels truly dressed for those long journeys. Yes.
Nice and smooth.
And it fits just perfectly and seamlessly with the semi-autonomous assistance systems, as this combination of semi-autonomous support together with an incredibly comfortable air suspension setup, I truly and honestly believe it's a blend that surely holds the potential to genuinely capture the interest and attention of many of you watching out there. Unfortunately, we don't have the comparison value for the steel suspension. However, I have seen some reviews that were able to test this car, and that should also be really very, very pleasant. So ultimately, maybe you'll have to decide when you're facing the choice between steel suspension or air suspension to try that out personally for yourself. By the way, Stefan, take a look at the info display here. This is the really cool assistant area. So here you can see very, very clearly where you are here in the semi-autonomous area with cars passing by. You can see the shoulder, so in my opinion, Audi has genuinely made significant progress and advancements here. And with the augmented reality feature that additionally integrates some information into the head-up display, it's truly a really, really cool and impressive feature. And I can only recommend, if you're choosing air suspension because you might be traveling long distances a lot, don't forget the driver assistance package in the corresponding configuration. And perhaps also, if you're a fan of such features, consider the augmented reality head-up display. We have a new consumption value, and we were able to drive 20.3 kilometers continuously at 140 kilometers per hour. You see this here, 139 is the average and 28.3. 3 kilowatts per 100 kilometers is the consumption. Has it increased by around 3 now? That's perfectly fine, but it stayed well below 30, because I can imagine that many of you will also try to constantly drive a nice 140 with such a Q6 e-tron. And then you realize with a full charge you can manage around 300 kilometers. Yeah.
That's progress.
I'd suggest that we make a U-turn here, and afterward we'll try out 160 kilometers per hour. We want to briefly hit the top speed with you. It's supposed to be 210 kilometers per hour, and yes, it effortlessly achieves that, especially with the quattro, the 2 electric motors, and 855 Newton meters of torque. He actually reaches speeds of 250 kilometers per hour, so I truly believe that's a very, very remarkable story indeed. And naturally, it's quite enjoyable if you have sufficient battery power to comfortably cover a short distance, perhaps even at top speed. I like that Audi doesn't just leave it like the VW Group does at around 180 kilometers per hour.
No, they'll calmly give you 200 plus, right?
Exactly, and that aligns perfectly with Audi, much like, in my opinion, the seamless overall Balance One experiences in terms of driving, power and suspension. You can truly sense that they possess decades of extensive experience in constructing advanced suspension systems, ensuring that this vehicle is consistently safe and comfortable, but also sporty when you want it to be. One can maneuver it. We increased the adaptive cruise control speed to 160 kilometers per hour, reset the onboard computer, and now we are eager to discover over the upcoming 20 kilometers, observing how the consumption is developing. We've recorded a fresh consumption value, and as we move forward, we are consistently driven at 160 kilometers per hour. The average kilometers per hour are 158. We covered 20.7 kilometers and determined an average consumption of 40.5 kilowatt hours. Stefan, what do you say about that? Pretty much Volvo level strong. Yes, finally we have hit the many again, so to speak. So that probably means you can drive around 200 to 250 kilometers with the buoyancy card, and then, well, the 94.9 kilowatt hour battery is then exhausted. Yes, feel free to rate the consumption in detail in the comments and take the opportunity to compare it with the data in the tables and with the other vehicles that have been tested. Let's go ahead and test the voice control capabilities by saying, "Hey Audi, please take us all the way to Munich to the Viktualienmarkt." Drive us to Munich to the Viktualienmarkt.
Munich Viktualienmarkt, do you wish to go ahead and begin the navigation process? Okay, I'm now starting the guidance process.
It's quick and smooth. You have the ability to consistently check which charging stations are available and the maximum charging speed you will receive, as that kind of information is undeniably crucial and important. If you're able to charge at 270 kWh, it's quite natural to seek out charging stations that can provide you with that very same capacity or power level. And so you ensure that you thoroughly prepare yourselves for the entire journey by considering and taking into account all the necessary charging planning. That's quite a fantastic story. You likely have the necessary options available here to make informed decisions about the state of charge you want to achieve at various stop points along the way, and so on. And yes, that's precisely how it should be. I believe they've made significant advancements compared to the older version of the MMI system, which is something we're already familiar with from the previous Audi e-tron models. And yes, I think it's a great story and extremely well done. We also want to drive a bit dynamically with you and take a nice long sweeping right curve at 215 kilometers per hour. And that makes the suspension firm yet comfortable. Now we have to brake a little harder because someone is overtaking in front of us who is moving a bit slower. There are no load change reactions there either. The vehicle remains stable within the lane, and now, particularly in the dynamic mode, we are getting full engine output and maximum power. To accelerate again accordingly. Yes, we plan to stop at the Demonland rest area, and we've entered the charging station details so the car can appropriately precondition itself. Do the charging check with you. And what's really noticeable, as we've already pointed out in the review with the driving report, Audi has given the Q6 e-tron really awesome brakes. It's really crucial that we not only have rapid acceleration, but also the capability to come to a stop quickly. And the brakes on this car, they offer an amazingly strong grip. It's genuinely a real delight to handle and drive the vehicle in a very dynamic and spirited manner. We have arrived at Ionity, which is situated at the Demonland rest stop. And we are now preparing to go through the detailed process of charging the Audi Q6 e-tron's battery all the way from 10% to 80% right along with you. Yes, what's truly fantastic is the 360-degree camera system, since it really allows you to easily and quite comfortably drive up to a charging station. We arrived at the charging station with lediglich 10%, and it's really ramping up the charging peak quite nicely here at Ionity. Yes, the thermal management did its job because of course we also signaled to the car that we want to charge via the navigation system, and you can see here how it very nicely, it immediately ramps up to 270 kilowatts, approximately 268. That's certainly super cool, and we hope it efficiently ensures that we can smoothly charge from 10 to 80% in just about 20 minutes. For charging, we've got a useful tip for you. We actually make use of the free kilometers provided by InCharge. InCharge is an app or even a website where you have the opportunity to rate such charging stations, take on challenges around electromobility, and also through your online shopping, through affiliate links to collect free kilometers. I've already charged over 46,000 kilometers for free that way. That's essentially like receiving cash back as a kickback, and if you're interested in learning more about InCharge, feel free to take a look at my video description for details. I've included a link in there for you. Yes, it's at 14%. Right now we even have roughly 279, maybe 280 kilowatt-hours. That means we go beyond the factory specification. Audi has equipped the Q6 e-tron with an 800-volt system. That's really awesome. It's new, also different from the Q4 or the Q8. We've basically got the latest and greatest installed here with the premium platform electrics, the PPE. It's comparable to the new Porsche Macan, which we're definitely going to be showcasing to you all over again at some point in the future. Simply as a counterpart. So I think it's pretty cool technology. And look, Stefan, that's 281, right? Yeah, he flinches, yeah. Not that we're breaking charging records electrically again here. A knave who suspects evil.
Here we come like we expected no other.
Well, I'll just show you electrically. And when Olli warms up the Audi nicely at 210, then it also goes up to 285 kilowatts. There's quite a significant amount of power in the battery now, thanks to the thermal management, which features extremely effective cooling and heating circuits. So there shouldn't be a cold gate in winter. From 15 degrees onwards, it should also already very much charging power possible in the battery. So that's really an awesome system. Look, 286, Stefan. Well,
Showing off now.
yes, he can. The Q6 e-tron. In 6 minutes, we went from 10 to 39% done, still with over 270 kilowatts. We've already recharged almost 30 kilowatt hours. That's how I envision electric mobility in the future, naturally broadly. Sure, all of this costs. It starts at around 63,000 euros, and as a quattro like ours, it goes beyond 74,000 with many extras added. So from that perspective, I would hope that this technology would also trickle down through the sellers into the smaller cars, because we all want to achieve one thing, that combustion engine drivers want electromobility, and for two reasons. Through efficient consumption, and thus also a great total cost of ownership. And they also experience this when they don't need to take any inconvenient detours or endure long waiting times at charging stations. And I just hope that we get there quickly, that more and more people than today will then also get excited about e-mobility. The charging break is also the perfect opportunity to briefly show you the Audi Q6 e-tron from the outside again. A stylish modern design that stays true to both Q4 and Q8 lines. The daytime running lights at the top are distinct and elegant, and you can also personalize them. Below that is the driving light, which consists of LED headlights with optional matrix LED headlights. And I believe with that particular grille design, it doesn't quite appear to be just a purely electric vehicle derivative. Yeah, if you want, you can also get some big fluffy slippers. We've got the expensive RS wheels on here, your 21-inch ones, right, Stefan?
Yes, it's still 255.
And if you use the sports styling package, then you have, for example, black gloss here and also accented in black gloss at the bottom. There is a full paint package so that you don't see any plastic. We have that on board as well. And with this grey paired with black accents, it ends up looking really, really chic and stylish. And very, very modern. Yes, when we then look at the rear section, we're met with the typical Audi design, also paired with the most modern LED taillights. In the trunk, we have 526 liters, which we can expand to 1517 liters by folding down the 40-20-40 split rear seats. Now we're at 50%, Stefan. Yes, perfect. And after 9 minutes, we've already added 40 kilowatt hours. He's still charging at 212 kilowatts. That's really quite amazing. I genuinely like it because it offers fantastic flexibility, even with adaptable travel equipment. Isn't that enough? Inside, you have the ability to pack 75 kilos in a roof box or on a bicycle, on a luggage rack, I meant to say. And naturally, you can securely attach the bike rear carrier to the tow hitch, just like you would with trailers. For the rear wheel drive versions, then with a capacity of up to 2 tons, Stefan. Yes. And here with the all-wheel drive variants, even 2.4. That's definitely plenty for horses, a caravan, or even for the speedboat. This is indeed a very versatile car that you can perfectly use for a wide range of diverse intended purposes. At 56%, it has fallen below the 200 kilowatt threshold, but is amazingly still charging at an impressive 195 kilowatts. Some derivatives aren't even capable of achieving that. As a maximum peak, right? No, not really. And in 11 minutes, we simply recharged almost 48 kilowatt hours. Well, I think the only way to achieve even faster charging times is with the Porsche Taycan or the Audi e-tron GT, particularly the latest model. And naturally, with the Lotus models too, they're definitely speedy. And I guess the newer Chopeng or Xpeng, or what are they called?
Xpeng, Chopeng, yeah, something like that. They were also angry.
And even at over 70%, it's still charging at a solid 130 kilowatts. 18 minutes have passed, 65, almost 66 kilowatt hours recharged. Yeah, I hope we can switch to 80, maybe then switch to 20, right?
Yes, could be it.
I think the spec was about 21 minutes.
Exactly, yeah.
10 to 80% in 21 minutes. We charged 71.5 kilowatt hours, and it's still charging at 100 even at 80%. 17 kilowatts, impressive story. Kudos to Audi for getting that into production now. I guess this might not be the end of innovations, right?
Nah, there's more in store.
Let's see what kind of surprises the future might bring our way, slowly but surely. Let's move on to the conclusion with the Audi Q6 e-tron Quattro. I have to say I'm truly impressed, Stefan. As a former Audi enthusiast who made the switch to Mercedes, I have to admit this is really a car that might actually make me seriously consider returning to Audi, at least for some parts.
Absolutely, genuinely well done.
MMI, simply really great, incredibly modern and truly functional. However, there is a slight downside which I can only mention to you at this point. When the sun comes from the side and behind, it reflects, because somehow this entire display surface is not anti-glare. That might be the only critique, but otherwise, the assistance systems are really quite top-notch. Head-up display with augmented reality is great. Charging and route planning as well as filter options are top-notch. Is open source, which means in the future you can add more apps and systems to it, is also great. Travel comfort, especially here with the air suspension, is top-notch. I think the steel setup will also be good. The drive as a Quattro is sufficient. The motors offer 285 kilowatts, 387 horsepower and 855 Newton meters of torque. He immediately just managed to smash the factory specifications on the Draghi device. Usually we only see this kind of performance from Porsche, and he even slightly undercut those figures. Top speed 215 km pro Stunde is totally sufficient in my opinion. And the charging speed is insane. From 10 to 80%, 100 kilowatt hours battery then, and in 21 minutes, I think that fits too. There are only a few remaining who might just make it in 17 minutes. That would definitely be in a higher price category once again. This brings us to the price. It starts as a rear-wheel drive with a 75 kilowatt hour battery, rounded up. Then starting at 63K. Personally, I believe that's a reasonable entry price. Naturally, you still need to add all those extras that you desire and require, and can most likely quite rapidly exceed 70 in total.
That can, I think, happen relatively quickly.
I'd likely choose the performance version with 326 horsepower rear-wheel drive and a 100 kilowatt hour gross battery, 94.9 kilowatt hours net. Because I think you can never have enough battery here.
Sure, yeah.
And for 5 kilograms on top, I think it's also a fair value for money in terms of drive and battery. Exactly.
When you look at all the models, definitely. But I'd say, for those who want everything to be really high performance and powerful, there would still be an SQ6 available for them.
Exactly, it starts at just over 93 kilos, and in between is our subject here, the Quattro, starting at 74 and some odd grams. What I think is interesting for all those who simply need all-wheel drive, who live in the mountains, who perhaps also want to tow a larger load with a trailer, and so there are various reasons why you might need four-wheel drive. I genuinely believe that this could indeed turn into quite a major hit if Audi manages to successfully pull it off, offering attractive leasing and financing terms for the car. Yes, because you have so many customization options here, like exterior color, interior color, Audi exclusive. Look here, how the belt. With the red badge, then the red stitching, the microfiber Dynamica, the sport seats. That's all premium, the panoramic sliding glass roof. Yeah, in the end, of course, a model like ours costs just under 100,000. Yes, but of course you also get the latest hot stuff here in infotainment and charging technology.
And that truly goes on to fulfill all the promises it makes.
The only thing that I think would hold me back, I have to be honest, from choosing a Q6 e-tron. I would always choose the Q6 over the Q4 and Q8 if it fits financially. Because when making a careful comparison, those appear as just minor price differences to me, with all due respect to every single euro spent. My take on it, because I believe you just end up with the more perfect car, in my opinion, with the A6 e-tron. That's the one I'm eagerly waiting for.
I think some are waiting for that. We already did yesterday.
Punchy, efficient, and also with this incredible technology on board. Audi, we're really quite excited. Finish it already, put it on the market. I've heard it should be around November or December.
Look now.
I think it's going to be a real cream puff. And then also as an Avant, or as commonly known, wagon. Exactly, I think it could really become a very attractive alternative next to the i5 Touring, giving people another cool choice. We've returned to the Auto Forum in New Brandenburg, and we sincerely express our heartfelt gratitude for the great opportunity to present this incredible car to you. Certainly feel free to visit the Audi dealer of your choice, particularly the Auto Forum right here in New Brandenburg. Take it out for a test drive and get an offer prepared for the brand new Audi Q6 e-tron. I think he could thrill many of you. I hope the video excited and inspired you too. You give it a thumbs up. Please consider checking again to see if you are indeed a member of the Easy Electric community. We'd appreciate your support with a subscription so you won't miss future electromobility videos. Thanks a lot for watching, stay healthy and see you soon. Yours, Ollie. Hey, Stefan. So daytime running lights, you know, with signatures you can choose. It's kind of bling, bling and bling, bling. That looks pretty fancy. It does have a certain appeal.